What's up, Rowdy? Been a minute. How you been,
Hey,
buddy?
I'm making it, man. How are you?
I'm still alive, so I'm causing trouble somewhere. You know that.
Hell yeah.
Oh, and the one thing I did catch, you already know me. You know who I am, so you already know you got my permission to post it anywhere, brother. You know that.
Hell yeah. I appreciate it, man. I really do.
Oh, nothing but love, homie. You know that.
Hell yeah. What have you been up to, man?
Um, Here, let me see if I can. This is just an easier way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If I can get the green screen to work. Here we
Hey,
go.
brother, take your time. Like I said, I'm finishing this cigarette this time.
There, that's what I've been up to.
Oof da. Well, that sucks.
Yes, that does suck.
Now, the question is, did they tell you it wasn't service connected?
Oh no, it every bit of it was service connected.
Good. Good. Because fuck them, that's why.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do this to save you because I made a video out in the garage blowing some smoke, and I just caught a flag on my video. So I'm just gonna do this that way. This
Hey,
doesn't
brother.
get flagged on anything, brother.
No
So
problem at all, man. Keep it off camera if you want. I personally, I don't give a shit. What are they going to do? Sue me?
well, I'm almost done, and when I get done with it, I'll go inside. I'll turn it back on if we're still going, but.
Sounds good.
Last time we talked, you were in a holding pattern in the Navy. So my first question to you is, how did that work out for you?
It was a lot of back and forth. I was on a decom. I was decomming a ship.
Yeah,
Kind of fell through the cracks a little bit. They were originally gonna give me the boot. Um, they ended up saying, "Fuck that. We need people," because they kicked out a bunch of people.
I remember you saying they were going to kick you out.
Yep. So I bought a house in Texarkana and moved my wife out here, expecting to, you know, get my shut up, honorable discharge, and don't tell anybody this shit type of deal. And they said, "Nah, never mind. You're gonna stay here another 7 months." So I ended up living in a tent on base because I wasn't about to pay rent twice, or a rent and a
I don't
mortgage.
blame you, man. I don't blame you one bit.
And finally got out, got home, went straight to work, and figured out how fucked up I am. And well, maybe I ought to give this VA thing a try. And now here I stand. I'm disabled as fuck, but I can still ride a motorcycle. So I ride a motorcycle across the country, and I talk to veterans now.
Bro, that is so awesome. I'm so happy for you, man.
Appreciate it.
Seriously, I'm so happy for you. That is great. That sounds like something you're going to be damn good at. I mean,
I hope
seriously.
so. I'm trying. I'm trying. So let's get started, man.
All right.
Give us a little bio. Tell us about you for those that don't know.
Um, well, for those that don't know, there's a couple in here who do know, but for those who don't know, I'm Monkey. And I have two services. I served from 90 to 92, where I deployed in 1991, and then I went back in 2005 and was medicaled out in 2007. So, and if they'd have listened to me originally when I went to the VA healthcare system and started complaining about my back, I wouldn't be having all that metal in my spine. So that's the wonders of social medicine at its finest.
Agreed. It is not easy.
No, sir.
Uh, we're kind of going to start on the earlier side of things. What was life like for you growing up? Did you have any influences, parents or grandparents that were in the military? What made you join, in other words?
What made me join honestly was my dad died when I was 15, and I didn't think my mom could afford college. And my mom pushed college so hard in the family. My mom was a nurse, and she just like threw college down our throat. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, the military says it'll pay for college. So that's literally why I joined the military, was to pay for my college. I mean, there's no heroic, I went down because I was feeling patriotic. It was to pay for college. Literally, that's it.
Everybody has their reasons, brother. I don't judge any of them.
Yeah, well, the dude in the army said he could give me a 2-year enlistment and then a 6-year. in active enlistment and have my college tuition 100% paid for. So I took that.
The big question is, did he lie?
Oh, no, he didn't lie. My college tuition, I have an associate's degree in electronics technology that I got from a community college, and I'm proud to put that education up against anybody from any major school
Hell
who
yeah.
paid tens of thousands of dollars versus my couple of thousands of dollars. So,
Nothing wrong with it,
but
brother.
it was literally for, and the ironic thing is, I almost didn't literally did well. I None of us made it back from over there, but I almost literally did not make it back from over there. There was only 10 minutes difference for me coming home in a box. Well, whatever they put him home in, sure couldn't have been a box, and coming home the way I did.
Mhm.
Because when we deploy, everybody who says Kuwait is not an actual deployment, that's a insult to those of us who were over there in 1991 who
I was gonna
lost
say they should
people.
say it's if they're gonna make fun of it, they should say it's not one now. It was different then.
Yeah. My good friend and former roommate expired on the mission I was supposed to go on. There was only 10 minutes difference from me going out on that than him going out in my place. So at 18 years old, how do you process that?
Where do you even start? You know?
Exactly. And I'm 52 and I still can't process it.
That's a question for a shrink, brother. I can't figure out my shit, you know?
Oh, exactly. But I mean, we're we're old enough to go to war for people who would never send their own children to do what we do and have no skin in the game, but only have money to make from it in contracts and backroom deals. And these are the people who are running the so-called, government. And it's the same people that send us there. It's when we went, I was really proud of it and stuff because our unit capped 648 oil well fires that the Iraqi army lit as they were running back. So our engineers capped all those oil well fires, and I was really proud of that. But then after what happened in Afghanistan, dude, they lost all those people for nothing. That just I couldn't do it anymore, man. I had no faith in the government at all at that point.
Rightfully so. Try
And
to
when
err on
you're
the side of not political, but it's hard sometimes.
no, I'm not trying. It's just I met my buddy's parents and his sister. I have a picture of it, and you can see me at 19 years old talking to him, and I'm there, dude. 1,000 meter stare. You can see in the picture I'm there, but I'm trying not to be like, hey, I'm the reason your kid died, because that's the only thing that's going through my head at that point.
I understand.
That's my that, and that's why I said at 18, how do you process that? I mean, at 52, how do you process that? The VA doesn't give you help to process things like that. I don't know what does. You know what I mean? They like to think they do, but when it comes to, and I mean, everybody's thing is different, especially those who went over in Iraq in the early part in 2003 to 2005. Those guys saw hell on earth,
Absolutely.
you know, and I don't feel worthy of being called a combat vet versus those guys, because we were shelled by our own artillery for 45 minutes. That's why my back looks like that because they waited so long. But I got blown up. But it is not as glamorous as they make it look in the movies, trust me.
Yeah, I was gonna say them war movies always get you, don't they? It's like, yeah,
Oh yeah, they make it
uh,
look so nice. It is definitely not. That overpressure is not your friend.
Definitely not. You answered a few questions, so we can kind of skip ahead a little bit. Um, do you want to kind of continue on with, while you were in, or would you like to kind of transition to getting out in that process?
Well, from like when I went through basic training at 17. My mom had to sign a permission slip for me to join the army.
Yeah, whatever.
That's my joke. And but I went through basic and AIT at 17, and 3 days before I turned 18, I got sent to Germany, and I got sent to the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, Black Horse, in Fulda, Germany, and they had just lost their mission because they used to be the border patrol recon between East and West Germany. And Checkpoint Charlie was literally 20 clicks off the west side of the base. So, yes, I am that old. I was there when the Wright brothers had their inaugural flight. You know what I mean?
I was
So,
going to ask, how did it feel to serve around the same time Moses parted the Red Sea?
it was fantastic because I don't serve.
Might have been a little better, huh?
Oh, it's fantastic. Let me tell you.
I hear you.
Okay.
Um, well, we've kind of touched on the dark. Were there any funny or lighthearted moments that you still think about today that bring a smile to your face?
Oh, there's a hilarious moment, and I don't know how clean I can make it. So, but I'm gonna let it fly anyway because it was my really good friend who me and him went through basic training in AIT together. He was just in a different platoon. And so he was like, "Oh, put Europe, da 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 da," and we ended up both getting stationed at the same place. And we went out to Sachsenhausen one night down in Frankfurt, Germany. There's a district with red lights, if you know what I'm saying. And
Definitely. I know better than most, matter of fact.
uh, some of these places are multi levels, and as you go higher in the level, the rates drop. You know what I mean? Because the expectations and the quality, shall we say, of the product drops.
Yeah, definitely.
And
It's more of a size change if you think about it.
so I came out and I saw most of the guys and I didn't see my buddy and I go, "Hey, where's Jamie?" And nobody knew. Nobody could find him. Oh crap. So we got to clear this entire house, or shall I say mini high rise.
Mhm.
So we go up floor by floor till we get to the second to last floor and you can hear him laughing. He has a very distinct laugh, okay? You can't it's hilarious. So I'm like, "Okay, we got the floor." And then all of a sudden, about 20 feet off of my left hand side, I see him run naked with his pants around his ankles from one room to the next, laughing hysterically, money in hand, literally going from one room to the next.
Well, at least he was paying.
Oh, he was definitely paying.
He had no
Yeah, yeah,
problem with paying, did he?
no, he definitely had no problem with paying. So, do you know how, and I didn't really want to use the term, but do you know how hard it is to grab a grown man out of a red light room who has his pants around his ankles, money in hand, expecting service, shall we say?
That leaves little to the imagination. But I'd imagine
Exactly.
you guys are capable enough. Hopefully, he was the small man of the group. You know what I mean?
Oh no, he was 210 pounds, 5'8".
Of course.
He was solid. It was that's what it was. Yeah, it was. But it was so. That was about the funniest moment that I can think of from that kind of best describes my service, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Um, I didn't do, shall I say, anything. I don't feel like I did anything worthy of being told thank you for my service when the people who really deserve thank you for your service have white headstones.
Yeah.
and so many people refuse to. Oh, whoops! I gotta get rid of the green screen now. And so many people refuse to acknowledge that part of it. You know what I mean? I mean, as I think it's what Plato says: only the dead have seen the end of war. It's something like that. One of them. So I don't know. I'm not trying to get all philosophically and shit, but you have to when you
That's what
deal
we're here
with
for,
it
man.
because when you have life or death decisions in your hands of you and your friends, sometimes there are consequences, and those consequences devastate people, not just the family of the one it happened to, but the entire platoon, the entire unit. And it's like a ripple effect. It's a pebble in a pond. You know what I mean? It's that one little pebble sets off this huge chain of events of just horrible karma or just a funk. But and that happens so much through the veteran community,
Yep.
or it has happened so much through the military. And these people, you know these people, some of these people in the veteran community, brother, you know how they are.
I call them
They,
bro vets, man. I know exactly who they
yeah.
are and how they are.
Yes, bro vets, exactly. It's my wife is telling me something.
The one thing that I can speak on with that is
I don't know.
yeah, I see a
I
lot of
get up.
veterans that have a
I'm sorry.
that have. Oh
Go
yeah,
ahead.
you're good, bro. I see a lot of veterans that have, like the guy that was in earlier, that have an issue calling themselves veterans because they don't feel as if they served enough. Sometimes they just it can be guys that didn't deploy. It can be survivor's guilt with guys that actually came home. You know, and it's a mentality that we really need to address in the veteran community, in my opinion.
I don't have a problem with the veteran mentality. I've got, DAV. I'm 100% PNT. I've been 100% PNT since 2017. It took 10 years to get to my 120 or my 100% PNT, but I did get to it. So, I mean, it's it's ridiculous the amount of paperwork you have to jump through to have them pay for stuff that they did to you. You know what I'm saying? It's absolutely. I gotta take my jacket off for a sec. It's absolutely ridiculous how I just feel like when I was young, man, and I was 18 years old and I was deployed, dude. I was just I was 10 foot tall and I was invincible and I was doing God's work. You know what I mean? I was doing what I thought the military did. I deployed to a foreign country who'd been invaded, and we made sure that the invading forces did, didn't come back in, and we put out oil well fires, and did something really good. And then you find out later on that that dude, we didn't absolutely do anything to that dude. So what did we do all that for? And then we have the next one, and it's a huge. The military war should be the last effort because when we come back, they don't fix what they break. The government is the only thing that is not allowed or is just that refuses to pay for fixing the toys that they break.
Like I said, I tend to err on the side of not political, but it's difficult sometimes. I understand, and it's true. Also, I will give the VA a fair shake. a lot of
No,
these,
no, by all means, give it a fair shake because
you know,
I like
a lot of these issues
myself.
can't be fixed, and some of them can. And you know, I think we're making progress, particularly in the veteran community, but hopefully the VA too. I think there's a lot of room for improvement, but I think we're on the right track, and I think we're trending up. You know, I feel
And
there.
that's what I'm saying. If you found a VA that works for you, bro, that by all means, man, stick with that because that's awesome. Because not all VAs are great VAs. So
I definitely.
I'm happy for you if you found one that's good. So
I actually live too far away from the close. The only reason that I've had such a good experience, I think, is um, I live more than an hour away from Shreveport, VA. So I go to a regional VA center, a clinic, and I get referrals to civilian doctors. And if it was up to me, if I was in charge of the VA right now, I would do away with the requirement for veterans to go to VA hospitals. Would I would set up clinics, more of these like small pop up regional clinics. Send
hmm
them there. You know, they kind of triage as you do, and send them out to see regular fucking doctors. I don't feel like
right.
that's too much to ask. If they're on the VA payroll, I feel like that's biased already. You know, and I had a way better experience than a lot of people did. I got 90% in 11 months.
Wow, you're your effing unicorn.
I'm telling you.
Holy smokes, dude,
It's like
that's amazing, and I'm happy for you.
I am living, breathing proof that this works. You know, that's the whole point of this. It's like
Right.
I'm the one I'm the proof to the VA that the process that they have for veterans that live too far away from service center, like actual VA service centers, this
hmm
process works 1,000 times better than sending guys to get fucking pissed off, and the next thing you know, you find them in the car in the VA parking lot. You know, it's a story that happens over and over and over again. The VA is doing this wrong, but the processes
Yep.
are there, and it works. You're seeing regular doctors. You're seeing you literally you go up there. Hey, this is what's wrong with me. Okay, you need to see a specialist. They send you out in town to a specialist. You go to the specialist. The specialist fixes what's wrong. They don't fix it. They treat what's wrong. It works. It's 1,000 times faster.
Yep.
You know,
Now, I have a question. Did you ask if there was something? Because I have a whole different one. Did you ask what civilians wouldn't understand about the military?
I haven't asked you that yet. We haven't quite got there. You want that question
Okay.
next? Go ahead.
Yeah, because I
Go
don't
ahead.
want
It's
to
your
forget
subject.
that.
I'm just
I
hosting.
don't want to forget my answer to that because
Go ahead.
to me, I just feel like it explains it the best. They have no skin in the game because they have no idea the amount of humility it takes to put your life in someone else's hands and have someone else put their life in your hands. Plain and simple. That's why they will never understand it. Those who understand that phrase, there's no explanation needed. You know what I'm saying? Those who don't understand that phrase will never understand it. So that's my thing about the difference that I found right away because when I was in, there wasn't a whole lot of people back home that were all for me, and then when I came back, oh, you're definitely different. Yeah, well, yeah, I'm different. I was in a war zone.
You're his
Yeah.
dad overseas fighting a war he didn't understand in a place he didn't need to be. That's the simplest way to put it.
Well, but see, the thing about it is that I was friendly fire. We weren't attacked by the enemy. We were friendly fire. We were our own stuff, our own howitzer battery, dude. We were shelled by our own artillery for 45 minutes. It was good times.
A little facetious, are we tonight?
Oh, a little sassy.
Little sassy boy. Uh, brother, you know, I've said this to you before, you have a very, very unique story. I know you already gave me consent. If
Yeah,
you would,
yeah.
whereabouts are you located? I actually don't
I'm
do
in
this on
Missouri.
TikTok. I do this in person.
I'm in Missouri.
That's not that far from me. What's your
Really?
schedule? What's your schedule looking like next couple months?
It depends on when, because I've actually started to go back to work, but you let me know and I can probably figure something out for sure. That's too easy.
Definitely. That's a pretty good ride for me. So it'll probably be like a little closer to spring when the weather lets up some, but
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
we'll get together and make a plan because, like I said, dude, you got a unique story, and I think people need to hear it.
But see, to me, it doesn't. I know it's unique, and I know but I know I have a different way of telling it that kind of hits home because I can explain it in the way I looked at it because in my mind I still have never left that moment. You know what I'm saying? The last thing I said to my friend were words that I wouldn't ever repeat to most people,
I understand.
and
There's
it,
never
I was
any
I
pressure.
was mad at him for taking my place. You know what I'm saying? And then 15 minutes later, I'm on the radio taking the call that he's gone, along with the two EOD guys that were with him. So we had lost all three. And they were clearing. It was part of an EOD thing. They were clearing unexploded ordnance, and a 155 round just went off, and all three of them were within a 6 meter radius. So I mean, it's it's one thing to, we support the troops. It's another thing to actually be there to support when, somebody says something about it. People, a lot of people don't know how to handle certain things, and like I say, I still don't really know how to handle it. I've come to a better, I guess, to a better reasoning that it was better him than me because I was meant for something greater or better, and for him that was a better purpose for him. So it was an even trade, I guess you would say, in my disturbed way of looking at it.
It's not disturbed. It's warranted.
Yeah, but I didn't agree to it. That's the problem. And the thing was, what gets me, I don't know if you remember it, but what gets me is when he said, "It's my job, it's what I do," and he was right. He was a combat engineer. That was his job, dealing with that stuff, and that's why I was so mad, because he was right, and I wasn't going to get to go, and I threw a little tantrum instead of congratulating him, and I could have handled it so much better. You know what I mean? I could have been a real man as opposed to a childish.
Mm, I wouldn't put it like that from my perspective and opinion. Um, it's a difficult conversation, and it's, something, like I said, unique only to you. You know,
Yeah, it
I
definitely
have,
is.
I have faith. I have faith in people. I have faith in God. I have faith in many things, and my faith is what keeps me here. And that's kind of it. I mean, you don't get to consent. You know,
Oh, yeah, you got that right.
it's a nice thing to think about, but there is no way to consent. Who are you gonna give your consent to? You know,
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm not telling you the way you're dealing with anything is wrong. I just said, from my perspective, maybe.
Oh, oh no, the way I see things, I see things in two or three different ways at times, but in certain times, like I just came from the garage, so I'm very elevated, shall we say, and I'm enjoying the thing about
That's good medicine.
it is first, when I went through basic and AIT, I went through it during a wartime. It was 19 I joined August 1st, 1990. And on August 2nd, 1990, Kuwait was invaded. So our basic training became not as tough as the guys in Vietnam, but the drill sergeants could put their hands on you, and they did, for some corrective training on some people who did things wrong. And that was a fact of life. And we had the shark attacks and things like that. And we had all kinds of interesting, um, shall we say, family members and slogans that we were called. And it it wasn't super degrading, it was funny. You know what I mean? It showed that you can kind of make people laugh by pressing a little bit of borders, because we care enough about you to let you do that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas a lot of people don't, that's what I was saying. They don't have skin in the game. They're not humble enough to submit their life to someone else. They think that you much rather, have, and, there's a secondary definition, humble yourself and submit your life to someone else. And, I'm with you on that one too, but the thing that oh yeah, but the thing I'm getting at is when you're going out, when you're deployed, when you're in your teams, no matter what, when you're in your job in the military, someone else has your life in their hands, and you have their life in your hands, and that's a huge responsibility.
Yeah.
And when you're 18 years old filling out a will because you're getting ready to deploy, and I guess you list your mother for all your stuff to go to. That's
Right. I get
it's it, it's pretty it, it it's pretty depressing at first, and then you have to laugh at it, because if you don't laugh at it, it will drive you insane, because when you go over there, you're going to be so worried about, you know you have to not care when you're over there. And I don't necessarily mean not care as in not have feelings about stuff, but to be able to have the difference, to be able to turn it off when you need to, and push through it in some areas, and then kind of come back. Because without that, I found, without that, being, you have to compartmentalize it, because if not, that drives you insane, because you can only see things so many times. You know what I mean?
you have to disconnect, brother. If you're over there and family's the first thing on your mind, you know, how can you say that I'm going to sacrifice my life for my brothers if the only thing on your mind is your family, your wife, kids, whatever?
Yep.
There has to be a disconnect. You can't go over there with that mentality and do your job. That's not how this works. So,
Exactly.
at the expense of those who love us, that's where we are. You know, it's just what it is. Um, just kind of wrapping up. Uh, any final thoughts? Any advice for younger generations, different era veterans, new veterans, hell, even guys active duty that are getting out? What would you say to them?
This is what's different. Like I said, I did 90 to 92, and I got out in 92 because not only did I almost die, I lost a friend, and it was very, it just, I didn't know what to do. So I got out, and I did the 2 years and did the 6 years inactive, and I kind of spiraled there for a while.
We all do.
And then in 2005, I went back in, because it was, I knew what I was doing. I knew how to follow the Army rules. The Army rules are simple. You have your uniform a certain way. You show up at a certain time. You do what you're supposed to do. You do what you're told, and then you look over a vehicle every once in a while. Then you take that vehicle out and drive it for a little bit. You come back, then you check it over. It's really simple.
It's easy.
And people make it so hard. And I was really good at it, but I was also my first job, I was a Cav Scout. I was frontline trace recon, so it's not like I wasn't quite a 11 Bravo, but I was a 1 series. And it's different when I'll just say it like this. It's different when you see it up close and personal. When you see the result of what war is, because they were still there 3 months after it happened and we got there. And this, first off, I got to answer them. Yeah, you ain't Cav, you ain't shit. Exactly. Love that. But I can still remember the smell to this day, and the the bodies were in all kinds of some with skin, some without. There were wild dogs around. It was really disturbing for a little bit. And that was another part. How do you process that and then lose your friend? And then, I mean, at a certain point, I left myself over there too. I don't know what came back. It definitely wasn't me, but I mean, something came back, and I'm not upset at that because, like I say, when I went back in 2005, it was simple to do again, but it had changed so much. It was such a different army. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but there was just something so different about that 2005 army. I was in an engineer platoon, and the basic training, they had males and females in the basic training, and we were there for the AIT, and they had just graduated, and the drill sergeant was started talking smack because we were sitting in the vehicle and they didn't know if it was for us. And all of a sudden the drill sergeant starts yelling, "Oh, they think they're special," all the tiff, and then all the privates there, "Oh yeah." And I got like, "Dude, I think he's talking about us." And they're like, "Oh no." And the drill sergeant yells something. I'm like, "Dude, he's talking about us. Let's go." So we get out, and as we start walking, the dude in front of me, Clum, he has 10 ribbons, you know. And then I've got my combat patch on my right sleeve, and I've got what's called a Schützenschnur, which is a German award, which is it's a medallion that's got a cord on it, and it's a permanent award. And I earned that when I was over in Germany. Love that thing. It's a sweet looking award. And it was just the drill sergeant was like, "Oh, war hero." And he looked at the other guy and he goes, "Man, you got some ribbons." And excuse me. So us being prior service, all of a sudden it was different. We were compadres, not necessarily. I mean, we were subordinates, but we weren't,
There's a
subordinates.
It was the same when I came back in. It was like when I went back, I wasn't really in boot camp, but I was at the boot camp base, and I
Yeah.
actually ended up taking care of the SEPs kids, the rejects, factory rejects, we called them, think tanks,
Yep.
processing them out and stuff. And it was weird. We didn't have ropes. That's how the Navy designates what an RDC is, or a DI, whatever y'all call them. And so we'd be walking around, and from the back, we looked like a fucking recruit. I kept my rank and everything, but you're walking around back. We're the only. There's four of us on this whole fucking thing. So, and dude, I didn't give a shit. I'm walking on the grass. I don't give a fuck. I've been in 5 years, 4 fucking deployments. You can kiss my, well, 3 deployments at that time. Kiss my fucking ass.
Right.
And
Right.
recruit. I could not wait to hear that shit. I snapped my ass around. Who the fuck are you talking to? Like, it was so much fun. I had a blast. But I understand that whole. And after that, there was like, oh fuck. they were cool after that. It just because
Right.
half of them I'm the same rank as, you know. Fuck, you can be a DI, or we call them RDCs as an E5. So
Yep. Yep.
uh, them
Yeah,
are
and you can be DI at E5 too.
yeah,
It
I wasn't
was
sure about y'all's branch.
it was funny because there was one DI who didn't have a combat patch. All of them but one didn't have a combat patch.
Ooh,
And we had to go through this warrior transition course in 2005 because I'd been out so long. I had to go through this 1 month course at Fort Knox. And yes, dear, just a moment. And when I went through it, these drill sergeants, there was only one that didn't have a combat patch. And I had all my uniforms when we had our stuff put on. I brought my patches with me. So when I went through that thing, I had my combat patch on. Oh, I was treated differently by every DI but him. That dude got so jealous.
fuck that
So
guy.
every time I would walk by, I'd be like, "Oh, what? Oh, my right shoulder. That horse is so heavy. Oh, can you help me?" and it,
All right,
it,
brother.
it
Sounds like you got some stuff to do. I'm just gonna wrap it up with a couple things.
yeah,
You've already given me
perfect, man.
consent to post it. I'm definitely gonna tag you in it, and the YouTube channel's the same. If you're not already following me, um, this is from a 22 a day people. I'll say this after every interview. Don't call me first. Call me last. Where others have failed, I will succeed. Mm, that's about it.
All right, brother. It was great to see you, man. Hope you're having fun.
Definitely, I am. I'm loving this. Come back anytime, man. I'm like I said, I'll be here all day tomorrow if you ain't got nothing to do.
All right, I
Veterans
will
Day,
let you know.
tough day, so I'll be here all day.
All right, brother. Love you.
Love you too, man. Later.
Later.
Hoofda. That was a good one. He's got such a unique story. That shit's awesome. Uh, you can go ahead and let the next one up. They can go ahead and start their introduction. I have to go use the bathroom because I think I've been sitting here for